In the frozen reaches of the Arctic, where ice meets ocean and temperatures plummet to lethal extremes, indigenous communities have practiced walrus hunting for thousands of years. This isn't sport or commerce, it's survival in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments. The hunting grounds lie along remote coastlines and ice floes where walrus herds gather by the hundreds. These massive pinnipeds, some weighing over 2 tons with tusks stretching 3 feet long, represent life itself for Arctic peoples. A single walrus can sustain a family through an entire winter, providing meat, blubber, hide, bone, and ivory that serve countless purposes in a land where nothing grows and every resource counts. Traditional hunters from Inuit, Yupik, and Chukchi communities prepare for months before the hunting season arrives. They repair their boats, once made entirely from walrus, hide stretched over driftwood frames, now often small motorboats that can navigate through ice fields. They sharpen their weapons, check their rifles, and prepare their harpoons with toggling heads attached to coiled rope. The harpoon isn't just backup, it's essential. A dead walrus sinks rapidly in Arctic waters, and without that rope connection, days of effort vanish beneath the waves. When conditions are right, hunting parties set out before dawn. The approach requires exceptional skill. Walruses have poor eyesight but acute hearing. A single careless sound, a cough, a paddle striking the boat's side, and the entire herd thunders into the water, leaving hunters empty-handed. Experienced hunters read the wind, the ice conditions, and walrus behavior patterns passed down through generations. The moment of the hunt is intense and dangerous. An adult bull walrus can weigh 4,000 pounds and possesses ivory tusks capable of puncturing a boat's hull. Wounded walruses become aggressive, and the frigid water means death within minutes for anyone who falls overboard. Hunters must be precise, respectful, and fearless. Once a walrus is secured and brought to stable ice or shore, the real work begins. The butchering process is a masterclass in efficiency and traditional knowledge. Nothing, absolutely nothing, goes to waste. The first cuts expose the hide, which can be 2 inches thick. This isn't simple leather. Walrus skin is among the toughest natural materials on Earth, traditionally used for boat coverings that could withstand ice impacts that would shred modern rubber. Hunters work carefully, removing the hide in large sections. Today, walrus hide still makes boots that last for years, rope that won't rot in salt water, and drum heads for ceremonial use. Beneath the hide lies blubber, thick yellowish fat that can be 6 inches deep. This isn't mere cooking fat. In the Arctic, walrus blubber represents concentrated energy. It's rendered into oil that burns in lamps, providing light during the 4-month polar night. It's eaten raw or cooked, providing the massive calorie intake humans need to survive Arctic temperatures. Some communities still prepare muktuk, blubber with skin attached, sliced thin and eaten as a delicacy that provides essential vitamins unavailable from any other local source. The meat itself is dark, almost purple, dense with iron and protein. A single walrus yields hundreds of pounds of muscle that tastes distinctly of the sea, rich, strong, and unlike any domestic meat. Hunters divide this meat according to customs that have governed Arctic societies for millennia. The hunter who made the kill gets specific portions. Elders receive choice cuts. Widows and families without hunters receive shares. No one in a hunting community goes hungry when walrus meat is available. Every organ has purpose. The heart, liver, and kidneys are consumed fresh, providing nutrients that prevent scurvy and other deficiency diseases. The stomach lining becomes waterproof containers. Even the intestines, thoroughly cleaned, can be inflated and dried to create traditional waterproof parkas called gut parkas, lightweight, flexible, and perfectly suited for kayaking. The bones are massive, dense, and valuable. Walrus ribs become sled runners. Shoulder blades become shovels. Smaller bones are carved into tools, games, and art. The skull itself, with its impressive structure, might become part of a house's foundation or framework. And then there are the tusks, elongated canine teeth made of dense ivory. These aren't decorative. Traditionally, walrus ivory was carved into everything from harpoon points to needle cases, from fish hooks to intricate storytelling pieces that recorded history and legend. Today, indigenous carvers continue this tradition, creating art that connects modern communities to ancient practices. The processing of a single walrus can take a full day of hard physical labor in sub-zero temperatures, but this work brings communities together. Men handle the heavy butchering, women expertly process the meat, knowing exactly how to cut each piece for different preservation methods. Children watch, learn, and assist, absorbing knowledge that can't be taught in classrooms. Preservation conservation is critical. Fresh meat feeds the community immediately, but Arctic winters last 8 months. Hunters dig deep pits in the permafrost, natural freezers that maintain temperatures well below zero year-round. Meat packed in these ice cellars stays fresh for months. Other portions are dried, creating lightweight, nutrient-dense food that hunters can carry on spring expeditions. Some meat is fermented in traditional ways, developing complex flavors and enhanced digestibility. The blubber gets rendered slowly over fires, filling containers with oil that will light and heat homes through the darkest months. Every drop matters. In a traditional sod house during the polar night, a single seal oil or walrus oil lamp provides the only light for reading, sewing, and living. This isn't romanticized subsistence living. It's genuinely harsh, but it's also remarkably sophisticated. Arctic peoples developed complete utilization systems that modern sustainability experts study with admiration. Zero waste isn't a trendy concept here. It's absolute necessity enforced by environment and culture. The spiritual dimension runs deep. Many communities perform ceremonies before and after hunts, expressing gratitude to the walrus spirit and the ocean. These aren't quaint rituals. They're profound expressions of a worldview that sees humans as part of nature, not separate from it. Taking a walrus life is understood as a sacred exchange, never casual or wasteful. When hunters return to their villages after successful expeditions, entire communities celebrate. Children run to meet the boats. Elders emerge from homes to welcome the hunters. The distribution of meat follows complex social rules that reinforce community bonds and ensure vulnerable members are protected. A successful walrus hunt means security, but it also means connection. People bound together by shared effort, shared risk, and shared benefit. Young people still learn these practices, though the modern world increasingly intrudes. Traditional knowledge transfers from elder to youth through direct participation. A teenager's first successful walrus hunt marks a major life transition, demonstrating competence, courage, and readiness for adult responsibilities. The skills required, reading ice conditions, understanding animal behavior, processing carcasses efficiently, represent sophisticated knowledge systems developed over countless generations. Climate change now threatens these traditions profoundly. Ice forms later, breaks up earlier, and becomes less predictable. Walrus populations face pressure from multiple directions, yet indigenous hunters remain committed to sustainable practices, taking only what communities need and advocating for walrus protection from commercial exploitation. The contrast is stark. A subsistence hunter might take 3 or 4 walruses per year, using every scrap to sustain family and community. Historical commercial hunting killed walruses by the thousands for ivory alone, leaving carcasses to rot. Indigenous peoples fought for decades to protect both walrus populations and their own hunting rights, finally achieving legal recognition of their traditional practices as distinct from commercial exploitation. Today, Arctic communities navigate complex political and environmental challenges. Outside observers sometimes misunderstand subsistence hunting, unable to distinguish it from trophy hunting or commercial operations. But for indigenous Arctic peoples, walrus hunting isn't optional. It's identity, culture, food security, and connection to place and history. In the depths of Arctic winter, when temperatures drop to -50 and sunlight disappears for months, stored walrus meat becomes life itself. Families gather around cooking fires, preparing stews that fill homes with warmth and sustenance. The meat that seemed so alien to outsiders becomes comfort food, familiar, nourishing, and deeply connected to home. Children growing up on this food develop not just physically, but culturally. They learn that walrus meat carries stories of their grandfather's bravery, of storms survived, of the ocean's power and generosity. They understand that the light illuminating their homework comes from walrus oil rendered by their mother's skilled hands. They know that their warm boots came from hides their aunt expertly processed. This knowledge creates resilience. Arctic youth who maintain connections to traditional practices show lower rates of social problems that plague many indigenous communities disrupted by colonization and forced modernization. Hunting, processing, and sharing walrus isn't primitive. It's sophisticated cultural practice that provides meaning, purpose, and tangible skills. The elders understand this deeply. They've watched generations navigate the collision between traditional and modern worlds. They've seen young people succeed and struggle, and they know that connection to traditional practices, to the land, the ocean, and the walrus, provides grounding that nothing else can replace. So the teaching continues. Old hands hands guide young hands in proper knife techniques. Experienced eyes help inexperienced ones read ice and weather. Ancient songs accompany modern preparations, linking past and present in unbroken chains of knowledge and practice. The walrus, massive and magnificent, remains central to this culture. Its image appears in art, stories, and ceremonies. Its practical contributions make life possible. Its spiritual significance connects humans to the natural world in relationships of respect and reciprocity. This is Arctic life, harsh, beautiful, and enduring. Where walrus hunting continues not as relic but as living practice, communities maintain connections to place and identity that sustain them through both literal and metaphorical darkness. The walrus provides not just meat and materials, but meaning itself, proof that humans can thrive in impossible conditions through knowledge, cooperation, and profound respect for the natural world that sustains them.